Bienvenue, Change Now, and welcome to another session of exciting pitches, this time from the world of sports. Without much further ado, I'd love to introduce to you someone who's going to tell us a little bit more about this theme before I then take over again as the moderator of the pitching session, and that is Fabien. Please join us on stage and tell us a bit more. Thank you.
Hello everyone, pleasure to be here. So I'm Fabien Paget, I'm the co-founder at 17 Sport. 17 Sport is a sports impact company operating at the intersection of sports, business and purpose. Our name, 17 Sport, ties back to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations. And we exist to really solve the biggest problem in the world by using the transformative power of sport. But we also believe that we need today collaboration between different stakeholders, private, public sector, startups, and more to really drive systemic change. I'm very happy to be here because I think we're going to listen to interesting pitches and we're going to introduce to you different startups that are really on a mission to solve some of the biggest problems around the ecological transition. And I believe that the next, and I hope that the next unicorns will be the ones that really contribute to solve the biggest problem in the world. So I'm excited to hear and to listen to some of the startups today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Fabien. Okay, there is another group of exciting people that I'd love to introduce, which is our jury. Now, very short and sweet, maybe in just 20 seconds, each of you, and you can quickly turn to the audience to show your face. Could you please introduce yourself, your name and who you represent? Let's do it short and sweet, but welcome.
Okay, thank you, Matthias. My name is Aude Penouty. I'm the founder of an agency called Etendart Textile, working with people making sports and textile better for the future of our industry, starting by sourcing and eco-conception.
Wonderful. You're at the right session then. Next up.
Hi everyone, I am Michael Ferrizi, the founder of Ecolosport. We work on the ecological transition and sustainability in sports with a media and an agency.
Wonderful. Good to have you.
Hi everyone, I'm Cedric Girard. I'm working in the outdoor business and also partner of Sustainable Mountain Alliance that was welcoming today some sustainable moments.
Hi everyone, I'm Marie-Laure Pied-Noir. I'm the Sustainability Director for Saint-Malo and I'm also an EOG, so European Outdoor Group board member.
Wonderful.
Hello everybody, my name is Tobias Gröber. I'm the head of ISPO Group. ISPO is the biggest trade show for sports, sporting goods and sports in general. So also hosting startup competitions since more than 50 years and happy to be here in the jury.
Wonderful. Thank you all for your time. A lot of expertise here. It's going to be exciting and you'll have a chance to ask away any questions after a certain number of pitches. There'll be Q&As regularly. My name is Matthias and I have the pleasure of moderating this session. And without further ado, I'd love to introduce to you the first of 5 pitchers who is going to have 3 minutes to present their work, followed by a Q&A and then another, I believe, 4 pitches following that with another Q&A after that. So, please, help me welcome Baptiste from No Water, No Us, who brought a big fan community, it looks like. So, 3 minutes, yours.
Hi, everyone. So, I'm Baptiste. We don't die of lack of access to clean water. We die of thirst. Oh, no, sorry. I'm a bit stressed, sorry. Yeah. Okay. We don't die of thirst, we'll die of lack of access to clean water. I first realized this while discovering a small village called Una at the foot of Illimani Mountain, 6,000 meters, that I had just climbed with my good friend and mountain guide Ugo Ayaviri. So that's why I decided to act and join No Water, No Us. I quickly discovered that 30% of the world's population has no access to clean water, 60% has no access to sanitation, and that more than 80% of the wastewater is directly rejected into nature. So that's why I'm presenting Climb for Water Action. We want to raise the voice of water to the top of the world and raise awareness towards the fragility of the glaciers. How can it be so difficult to have access to clean water at the foot of those water towers that are mountains and that provide water to 100 million of people? So that's why we decided to act with No Water, No Us. We are acting mainly on clean water and sanitation into the context of sustainable development goals. They are in critical danger, the glaciers. I've witnessed that with my activity of a mountain climber. That's why I decided to act on the ground by using the power of mountaineering, the solidarity that promotes mountaineering, to implement solidarity facilities on the ground in the Andes community, but also in the Karakoram, which is the Himalayan section of Pakistan. And that's why with Hugo we're gonna be roping up to climb 3 summits in the Andes in June 2024, and we're gonna climb Gasha Broom 2, which is 8,000 meters in Pakistan in July 2025. All of that to raise the voice of water at the top of the world. Thank you.
Wonderful. You can pass that on. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Baptiste, and fingers crossed for the journey, but I'm sure it'll be fine and very exciting. Marie-Flore from Entourage is up next. Your time to shine, please.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the club. Welcome to Entourage Sport, a program by the NGO Entourage. Entourage Sport is born from an alarming observation. In France, 7 million people are isolated, and over 300,000 are homeless. When you're homeless and in a precarious situation or isolated, what you need is people to count on and to restore your self-confidence. You got me. That's basically the values of sports. This is the experience of Mehdi, a member of the Entourage community. Sport helped him build social connections and support networks to improve his situation. That's why he initiated Entourage Sport. And Entourage Sport actually comes from someone from the streets, for others to benefit from the best of what sport has to offer. To create social connections and strong support networks through sports, we created Entourage Sport. It has 2 sides: practice of sport and passion in sports. So, on the one hand, we get people together to practice in sports club, be they in precarity or not. And that has a huge impact. Obviously, having a team that counts on you, expects you, and encourages you to come and train every single week is a huge lever for social inclusion. And on the other hand, we put people together to support their favorite teams and athletes in major events, like, let's say, the Olympic Games next summer, of course. We all know the magic of sports. Experiencing such strong emotions together, this builds social connections. We've launched Entourage Sport just a couple of months ago, and we already achieved great results. To go further, to build Entourage Sport in other countries, to make sports club and the sports sector altogether a more inclusive place, we need financial support and we need to open new doors in the sports sector. Basically, we need you, so come and join the team. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Come and join the team. Sounds like you're at the beginning of a really exciting journey. Next up, and his 3 minutes will be Pierre from Notpla.
Hi everyone, I'm Pierre, co-founder of Notpla. We develop alternatives to single-use plastic using seaweed. You might not know a couple of things about plastic. First one is that food service, takeaway, packaging is actually a huge portion of the plastic that finds itself into the ocean. And that now, in Europe, over 75% of people have microplastics in their blood. So we're really releasing a huge amount of that problematic material. And unfortunately, the takeaway containers that you might see in like the next event that you attend is not just cardboard. There's a thin layer of plastic inside to resist to the grease and moisture of the food. So we're replacing this with seaweed, which is abundant. Some seaweed can grow up to 1 meter per day. It's naturally biodegradable. It sequesters carbon. It makes a lot more sense to use seaweed than plastic. What's great about our solution is that it meets the performances of the industry. And we have found a way of using the existing infrastructure of plastic and transform the material of seaweed into final products with the same factories, so we can scale up very quickly. What's great is that our takeaway is naturally biodegradable, it's recyclable, it fits any end of life without ever creating forever waste. We've won the Earthshot Prize. It's an exciting kind of like endorsement of what we do with Prince William. And today, we are rolling this out with the sports industry with the help of stadiums. We are in over 50 stadiums across UK and Ireland, from Wimbledon to Chelsea, Tottenham Hotspurs, Aston Villa. So it's really great to see sports showing that we can have consumption without using plastic. What's really special about what we do is that we use seaweed the way it exists in nature. We don't create any chemical modification or anything that would transform it into plastic. And actually, that matters. The Netherlands introduced a legislation that like taxes plastic containers. And for the first time, they investigated what was on the market. The government looked at what was happening. And they found that of all the solutions they reviewed, only Notpla was not containing plastic. Everything else that was calling itself plastic-free actually had plastic in it. It's the first time a government is looking into this. So we are plastic-free, we're PFAS-free, and we're also reducing the carbon footprint. It's not just about plastic, it's about having a solution that is lowering the impact across all fronts. So today in Notpla, we've replaced more than 7 million single-use plastics. We are active in 10 countries in Europe, and we're really here to help the venues that like host these big events with tens of thousands of people to not rely on plastic to give them the experience that they need. Thank you very much.
So simple, but so effective. Thank you. Wonderful work. Now, next up is Nathan from La Virgule.
Good morning, I'm Nathan, the co-founder of La Virgule, and with my two partners, we are very happy to be in the nature and big fans of being outside, and I'm still glad to be here. So Max was a pro windsurfer, and my other partner was a product engineer for Decathlon, and we discovered that this industry pollutes a lot, and that at the end of life, when we ski, when we surf, or when we hike, all the materials we have can't be recycled in France. And so when we practice, we are part of this problem. And on the other hand, of course, people want a co-responsible product, but what they particularly want is a strong and resistant product, and this is proved by studies. So our solution is to collect this amazing waste to create this kind of bag. So here you have an example with the collaboration with Sea Shepherd. And I'm going to take this one as an example. So on the outside, you have rib boat fabric used for a Zodiac boat, for example. Those parts are leftovers from Petzl, the climbing brand. At the back, you have the seat belts for the shoulder straps, so that should last. And in the inside, you have kitesurf wings for the inside pockets. So you have all our partners right here. So everything is cut, then washed when needed, and then it's sewn in France and in Europe. With those materials, we have very strong and very high quality products with the less emission possible. So now you are asking, where can I get one of those? Here, so for now, you can go on lavirgule.eco or e-commerce website. Then you had the chance last year to get into Globetrotter, which is the biggest outdoor retailer in Europe. And so we are in their 22 shops in Germany. And then if you are here, it's maybe because you are looking for a solution for your company to have high quality products. So we can do this bag out of your ad banners, for example. So we could also do that, and the workshops, for example, this one where you were cutting and I was sewing for Patagonia last summer. So it's now time to grow. We had almost 3 amazing years having growth without any acquisition cost because we didn't do any ads on Instagram or Google. So it's now time for us to raise some funds. So we are raising 400Ks and there are just a few tickets left. So if you're interested in that, that would be a pleasure. And of course, if you need some corporate gifts or whatever, feel free to come and see me at the end. Here you have my details. And if you want to write the second part of the story, it's right now. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Nathan from La Virgule. Benjamin Adler from Game Earth is up next and the last before the Q&A. So start to get your questions ready.
Okay, cool. Ah oui, faut que je vois là. Okay. Hello everyone. Oh, I have to stay here? Okay, but if okay, I can see. Okay. Before being an entrepreneur, I was a journalist, so I know how much stories is important. And I think it's time now for sports to tell its new story. Why? Because sports, the good news is sport is only 1% of the global carbon footprint. But bad news, sport isn't where it should be now to tell a new story on how you produce and how you consume the sport. We lack of data, as you can see, and if the sport doesn't change, the way it's produced now and the way it's consumed, it's not sustainable. So the sport needs to step up its game in order to tell a new story, and we are here, gamers, to help the sports industry to transform its duty and its responsibility into a new story, to engage its ecosystem and to engage its fans, and to create a new way to show people how we should produce and consume sport. So how do we do this? We have a 3-step. We help the sport industry to calculate both their carbon footprint and biodiversity footprint. Because I don't know if you know, but sometimes when you reduce your carbon footprint, you can have a negative impact on the biodiversity footprint. So we need to make change to find a good balance, and we need to take biodiversity into consideration. Then we help reduce those footprints and rebalance the footprints. So we calculate and we have a figure, we try to rebalance it. Basically, it's offsetting, but I don't call it like this because we don't do a pure offsetting. And then, most important, at the end of the day, is how you communicate with your ecosystem, internally, externally, and how you engage with your fan. Because if you make your change and you're able to tell how you change, then you create what's the biggest. So this is an example of a platform we're working on. And you can see the most important thing for me is to transform the figures of a carbon footprint into something understandable. If I tell you your carbon footprint is 3.2 ton, you have no idea what it means. So our job is to make sure in real time when you calculate to really understand what it means to have a 3.2 CO2 emissions per year. Okay? And then I will finish by saying that this is all the actors that are getting ready. I think the sport industry is way, way, way ready now to really make its cultural revolution and its structural revolution. But it needs to change to also then change a new story. And we're here for that, to really help them to tell this new story, to make sure all together we change the industry we love. We're here because we love sport, because it creates emotion. And the best story starts with emotion. So we help to do this with the scientific tools. Thank you very much. Did I 3 minutes? I'm okay? Good. Whoa. Yes.
Perfect. And you can stay with me for the Q&A.
Okay,
yeah. I'd like to ask the other 4 pitches to come join me. Would you mind on my right? We have about 7 or 8 minutes for your questions. And I'd like to do this popcorn style, meaning anytime a question comes to your mind, just pop and ask it away. No particular order. We'll just go where the flow takes us.
Okay,
please.
I have 2 questions, one for Notpla, one for La Virgule. Notpla, which kind of resources are you using? Are they growing farm or wild resources?
So it's a mix. There's different species that are either farmed or wild harvested. Today in Europe, only wild harvesting exists because we don't have support for farmers. But in Southeast Asia, which is the bigger market, it's mostly grown as farms, which is the way to go.
Thank you. And for you, Nathan, as you're using pre-owned and pre-consumer resources, can you work on materials traceability? And if yes, how?
Yeah, we are working with brands to make sure that the waste we collect is from this kind of product, to make sure that at the end we know the composition of the product. And we are also working with industries, such as the manufacturer of this rib boat fabric, for example. And then we are collecting leftovers or scraps from their production site.
Cool, wonderful. Yeah, please.
I have a question for Pierre Notpla. Using seaweed as a material instead of plastic, did you ever think about other use cases, like applying the technology and the outcomes and the results to, for example, shoes, garments, accessories, bags?
Yeah, so we have about 5-6 other applications, but I focus on this one because it's the one that we have scaled up at the most. But we're working on flexible films, on injection molding, even on some edible applications for energy gels. So there's a lot of other things that we are developing. Check out the website.
Many things cooking. Yes.
I have a question for Pierre and for Marie-Flore. So Pierre, I was wondering if you've already tried single-use packaging for example, shipment of garments. Is it something that could work?
Yeah, so we're working on this. It's one of those big kind of like focus of the fashion industry. So actually, we are looking for partners who want to trial with their supply chain our material. So we should talk more.
Okay, great. Thank you. And for
That's
Marie-Flore,
how you do it. Yeah.
Exactly. And for Marie-Flore, I was wondering how you connect with people, like precarious people that are in need, to onboard them in the association. And the other thing is, what's your development plan?
Sorry, I didn't get the second one.
And what's your development plan?
Okay. So on the first one, so Entourage is a more global NGO where we have 3 programs to embark people in support networks with people who need the most these support networks. So our first program is Entourage Local on local network. So this goes through an app, basically called Entourage, and most of the people that join the sport programs are already part of the Entourage Local program. And we also have a program on the professional network, which is for now called Linked Out. And on the second question, so our development plan for Entourage Sport is to go, so for now we're mostly in Paris and Lyon, and we want to go and grow in the other cities of France, and more globally for Entourage cross programs, we're exploring going European.
Please.
I have a question for La Virgule. Maybe you talk about, but I'm not sure. What about the end of life of your products?
So this could be, for example, a laptop sleeve at the end. But before we have a repair for forever. Yeah, we say when you buy this, we can repair it for life. And this is the main thing, of course.
A question to La Virgule. The brands you're working with are part of your go-to market, or they just leave you the brand and material and deal with it?
It really depends. For example, with the kitesurf brand I mentioned, F1, we are now given to all their commercial force in Europe. So when they sell the kitesurf wings at the surf shop, they also sell our products, and this is where we want to go. And of course, at the end, there is also a thing to reduce their waste. The idea is, okay, we collect a ton per month, for example. How do we reduce that before we collect it?
Please.
I have 2 questions. One for you, Marie-Flore. How do you work with corporates, and how do you fund all the programs that you start?
So we work with corporates on different levels. So we have sensibilization, so programs for the collaborators to discover what alterity is, what it means, and what inclusion is, and how it can work. We also create special events for them. And they support us through their fundings, mostly philanthropic, because they believe, as we do, that everyone should have someone to count on.
One question for Benjamin. We know that athletes are more and more vocal about driving change and about what they care. How do you engage with athletes at Gamers?
It's very hard for the athlete to go public with their engagement. For us, it took us 2 years for having Rudy Gobert to going into public with the engagement with us. So we calculate the carbon footprint of Rudy Gobert, and then we basically offset. And it's a good question. Gamers is also an endowment fund, and we recently launched on Instagram the first ever sport and ecology influential campaign. So we have a collective of 31 pro athletes, and every month they release a post on certain thematic to sensibilize their followers. So we have a potential of more than 2.4 million followers to be sensibilized through the athletes, and the athlete has the first point of interest and the first entry and the first door of influence. And but for that, they need to make sure they're doing something. So we are here to help them to step up their game in their awareness of their footprints, how they can reduce it, and once they feel comfortable with this, then they can go into public. So it can be a 1 year, 2 year process, and with also a digital platform for that help every brand or every athlete to you calculate, you understand in real time, then you reduce through content, and then if you want also, you can contribute to your donation. So it's a 4-on-1 digital platform. In 15 minutes, you can do everything, and then you feel comfortable to go public because you're okay with your engagement. Is that an answer your question, Fabien?
Yeah,
okay,
thank you.
Thank you. Maybe time for one more. If there's none, I would have one for No Water, No Us. You mentioned the campaign to climb mountains, to raise funds, etc. Where can people follow the action?
Sorry, on Instagram and LinkedIn, No Water, No Us.
Yeah?
Easy, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Good, wonderful. So everyone take a note. Wonderful. If there's no questions, I would say let's raise our hands and give these change makers a round of applause. Thank you. We have 4 more exciting entrepreneurs pitching. And without further ado, let's jump right in and welcome Olivier from We Are Etendart onto the stage. Yeah?
Everyone. So very happy to be here. I'm Olivier Méraud. I'm the co-founder of We Are Etendart. Our project starts from the observation that adolescence is a key stage in someone's development. It's marked by physical and psychological transformation. It's marked by points of reference that you are looking for in terms of justice, in terms of transgression, and you are growing up. When you become a teenager, you rely usually on 3 main pillars, one being your family, the other being your school, and the third one being extracurricular activities that you can participate in. So those activities represent usually around 25% of people's time. And the access to those activities is pretty unequal. So if we look at sports, for instance, and you look at the priority neighborhoods, they present 8% of the population in France, while the sport licenses only represents 4%, and the number of sports equipment only 2%. So We Are Etendart is a movement that is bringing together athletes and artists that commit with us to inspire and empower kids through an educational method that is based on sports and creative arts. Practically, what we do is that we create positive inspiration experiences for teenagers in priority neighborhoods. So we bring together athletes and artists, as I mentioned, by believing that they have a role to play with teenagers who is similar to their parents and their teachers. They work hard, they dream big, and their journey is made of a success that is inspiring for the kids. We also, based on those athletes and artists' relationship, we create experiences that are based on sport and creative arts. So we create playgrounds that are decorated by artists, and we have animating those playgrounds with an educational approach based on sports and creative arts. So the objective of those initiatives are to help kids develop themselves and foster their self-development. So this is an example of a project we've been carrying with a football player named Rai in Paris. So we have created a playground in his effigy. We have been running workshops with kids on these playgrounds, helping them practice sport and discovering different types of creative, cultural, and citizen activities. We also have been creating a wide spectrum of experiences, from holiday camps to one-time events where they had the chance to meet with Rai. And we've been creating storytelling content with Rai, talking about his involvement in the project and for him to tell the story around personal development.
Wonderful. One last sentence, maybe?
No, it's fine. Thanks.
Yeah? OK, good. Thank you, Olivier. A really cool idea. Antoine is up next from Urban Youth Games.
Hi, everyone. Let me explain you why the next generation should grow up to be inspired, to be inspiring and fulfilled, and how together we can achieve that. It all started with a tragic event when the capital of Europe was under attack and when a lot of children lose faith in their own future. And this is when actually the urban youth games were created. Of course, first through a lot of negativity, and with the very first monumental sporting event, bringing back hope to 1,500 children. Since that day, we have experienced a wonderful success story for the past 5 years. We have organized and reached more than 15,000 kids across Belgium with inspiring and impactful events. Our ambition of creating inspiring experiences and impactful and fostering social inclusion is very supported by a unique positioning in the world, gathering the Olympic, the Paralympic, and the Special Olympic movements into one for youth, regardless of their religion, the gender, the handicapped, and any other differences. A movement that every child can belong to. To continue that growth and to generate even more impact, we are going 2,000 kids from all over Belgium and from France will gather to experience their own Olympic and Paralympic Games the 31st of May in Saint-Denis. This once-in-a-lifetime experience will serve as a springboard toward a European festival by 2027, where thousands of children will unite to break down their social and cultural barriers together. Plus 392% shows the magnitude of our impact for the 5 coming years compared to the last 5 years, so from 2019 to 23. And actually, it started with a little journey, one-day event, and now we are changing the lives of thousands of children across Europe. Of course, we cannot do it all on our own. We need you, private companies, public authorities, general public, teachers, sports clubs and federations, teachers, parents, anyone who might help us and who wants to put inclusion into action. Because if they do, if you do, actually we will have been able to transform all that negativity into something very positive for the next generation. And we might give them and us a brighter future.
That was right on the gong, so very well done on timing. Thank you. Next up is Mathieu from Swim for Change. What is that all about? Please tell us.
Hi, how are you doing? Good, yeah? Who here likes to swim? Raise your hand. Okay. Who here likes to swim long distance? All right, we got a few hands. That's my passion, and that's me. Being me, doing what I like, swimming. I do long distance swims, sometimes a bit crazy swims. And here I want to tell you about a story, right? It's a story of a cigarette butt. You know a cigarette butt? If you throw it here in the streets of Paris, it will end up in the gutter, in the River Seine, in the ocean. And I wanted to use what I like swimming to talk about this issue. So together with my wife here, Chloe, hi Chloe, she's filming me right now. We did this crazy challenge of organizing the world's biggest cleanup of cigarette butts. It was right here, like 300 meters from here, 2021. We collected 800,000 cigarette butts. But we didn't want to stop there. We wanted to show that if all those cigarette butts, if we didn't collect it, they would end up in the ocean. So what did we do? We actually swam down all the way from here, so le Pont Alexandre III, to the sea. That was 380 kilometers swim, relay, day and night between 4 swimmers. And in that way, what we did was we attract the emotion of people. We attract large medias, we attract the audience, and literally in the end, we attract smokers who got our message. But they got our message not as, oh, you should do that, you shouldn't do that. They got our message through a story. And story creates emotion, and emotion creates change. So that's what we wanted to do. What I'm here to talk about is our next adventure. It's going to be one of the world's biggest swim you've ever seen, right? We're going to talk about water. We're going to talk about water pollution. But I can't tell you what it is today. I'm sorry, it's such a big teaser, but because we announced it on September. And what I'm looking for is partners with our NGO Swim for Change to create it from now on all the way to September, so that we're ready in September to talk about change and to talk about how we can use this global platform, this global challenge. It'll be a 4-month swim. My wife and I swimming 6 hours a day for 4 months. I can't tell you more. It's a bit crazy. But if you want to learn more about it, I'm happy to talk about it and see if we can build this project together. Thank you so much, and see you soon.
That's a lot of swimming. Very good, Mathieu. Thank you so much. Inspiring. Next up and last before the final Q&A is Thibaut from the Institut du Sport Durable.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Thibaut, and I work for l'Institut du Sport Durable, an organization that was recently created in early 2024. So we all know what's happening today on the planet, and unfortunately, sport is no exception in that. Sport is first impacted by all these changes, as many events are postponed because of natural disasters, drought, extreme heat, that are all consequences of climate change. But sport is also impacting and damaging the world we live in, as because of over-frequentation of natural sites, huge need for transportation, overproduction of materials, waste production. So there is a big problem, and sport needs to change, but sport has a huge impact to transform the society by its popularity or its educational power. But before finding magical solutions, magical products, we have to ask ourselves, where do we want the sports to go? And that's what we're doing with the Institute. We try to write the new narratives of sport. We try to invent the sport of tomorrow. We try to inspire more sustainable practices, inspire action, and raise awareness about problems and solutions that exist. So how can we do that? How can we pass the message around? So this is a challenge, but we're thinking that with an engaged community and active members that goes from public institutions to the sport industry, sport ecosystem, to sportsmen, sportswomen, individuals as a whole, that if it's active members that are representing the sport today, it will be active members for the sport of tomorrow as well. We're doing that by what we call eco-adventure, which are basically a sport achievement made by one or more people that goes around the French territory to see on the field what's happening on one main theme, and to see the solutions and to have concrete ideas of what the future of sport can be. We want to also create different medias to be witness of what we're doing. We want to create movies, books, impacting pictures for our members to fuel with concrete imagination and to go further away with like concrete solutions. So we have two main objectives. It's to anticipate with like all the sport industry because they are obviously not ready today, and we're going to try to mitigate the impact as much as possible. And we're going to try to help all the sport ecosystem to adapt to what's coming, with one final goal, which you can see here, it's to accelerate the shift towards positive and sustainable social change. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. And you can stay with me. I'd like to ask the other three pitchers to join us. To my right, please. I don't need it. You can put it there. Same procedure as last time. We have about 7 or 8 minutes for all of your questions. No particular order. Just shoot.
So question for Swim for Change. Do you work with tobacco companies?
Oh, interesting question. No. No, but we talk with them, right? Because we want to understand where the pollution comes from, what do they say about it. And there are some projects we also really don't want to tell them because they are projects against them. And I'm kind of afraid of their lobby power. So no, that's not my aim. My aim is to understand, but not to work directly with them.
Other questions? Yeah?
I have a question for Urban Youth Games. I'd like to know if you can give us an example, a concrete example of actions you do with children.
So we have, let's say, a more in-depth social inclusion plan to increase the impact that inclusion have on sport throughout the year. So we have 2 different steps. First one is educational bundles. We call them inclusive playbooks. And the second one is inclusive challenges. So encountering on a municipality level other children with disabilities. And those 2 steps make the link towards regional and more local events that we organize ourselves, and also national. So it's like a 4-step pyramid that we embark the children on. And lastly, the European event that we'll organize by 27. And the idea is to replicate in other countries. So in France and other European countries, because the model there is very replicable for other NOCs. So the Olympic, Paralympic, and Special Olympic movement exist in all European countries. And by merging them to create one for youth, we can call them a kind of franchising, yeah.
Cool. Next one.
That goes into your direction, Antoine. So would it help you to be connected, or are you already connected with the local national Olympic committees and federations? Or would it also be interesting for you to be like to replicate the whole system and to talk to companies, municipalities or communities, to cities, big cities? And third is, are you anyhow connected with the European Union and the Week of Sports that they're promoting? Because that's all a Brussels idea.
For the last question, we are not connected yet. We are one of the 9 finalists of the Be Inclusive Award that will be announced by mid-April. And for the first 2 questions, we are integrated in the Belgium Olympic Committee so far, working with the Paralympic and Special Olympics that we did for our first national event last year. So it's already existing. And now for the event, the 31st of May in Saint-Saint-Denis, we replicate that. It's like a steering committee, so it's not that far, but they are working together, the 3 movements, the French movement, because we asked the sports federation and clubs, local clubs, to supervise the sporting activities during the events. So it's already kind of there, but not yet. So of course, any support might help.
I see a question cooking there. Yeah.
One question for you, Mathieu. How much are you looking to raise for sponsorship for the next event?
All right, so the next project is around, it's fourchette. How do you say fourchette in English? Fork? Does it work? Can you just say range? No, thank you. A range. Well, a fork. A spoon? Sorry, it's a range. It's between 500 and 900,000 euros. But again, it's going to be a worldwide project. And I've done adventures for the last 6 years, and this one is the big one. It's been already a year I'm preparing it with hydrologists and experts. So it's a big one. I can't say more.
Thank you. One question for you, Olivier. What's your ultimate vision of success at Etendart?
I think it would be to create an international movement that brings together athletes and also artists, and to create sport infrastructure and cultural infrastructure that live together and like get to inspire kids with various range of activities and infrastructures.
Okay. Thank you.
So at the Etendart, you should definitely speak with Stan Ture, just for information. And I have a question for you at Institut. Can you say a word about your collaboration with the Shift project? What is the goal of this collaboration?
So we collaborate as not officially. We try to help them with some data to have a huge report that which is global, which have data that all the sport industry can take as a reference, and we try to help them in that way.
And Mathieu, is it going to be a low-tech adventure at least?
Of course. So it's 4 months. There's a boat next to us, and the boat is going to be also promoting lots of low-tech. And but 4 months swimming, you might think it's a long time. For me, I just seeing as someone going in a monastery for 6 months, right? Spending time with yourself. So that's kind of how I see it, and also a lot of low-tech behind it.
Cool. Some wonderful ideas here with lots of potential and impact already. If there is no more questions, I'd love to ask the audience to raise your hands and give the entrepreneurs a big round of applause. Thank you so much. There is one last announcement for the pitchers as well as for the jury and the audience, which is that you have the chance to go to a private networking event in the community hub. You can also follow Anissa, who is where exactly? Somewhere over here. You'll see her raise her hand. Anissa, yeah, there, look at her. And the audience has the chance to join that networking event at the Community Hub. There is a limited amount of spaces, so if you're really interested, it's a bit first come, first serve. The jury members and the pitchers, you of course are on the list. So thank you very much for this session. We are back here at 5:30 for the final pitches of the day in the theme of education. So see you back here in a few minutes. Thank you to the jury and the pitchers.